Battle through the heavens, grand world. Chapter 135 Questions. It exploded. What's going on? That device actually exploded. When the sound of the explosion faded away, the stands immediately burst into noise. For a moment, all kinds of chattering sounds rushed into the venue, but Li Daoyuan acted as if he didn't hear it. He looked at the broken pieces in front of him and couldn't help but be a little stunned. He waved his sleeve and dispersed the smoke in front of him. Li Daoyuan took a few steps forward and fell into deep thought as he looked at the charred ground. Senior brother, what's going on? Hua Yan and the other judges appeared behind Li Daoyuan. They looked at Xiaoyan's profile picture on the big screen. There was no data behind the profile picture. Hua Yan hurriedly looked at Li Daoyuan. Li Daoyuan shook his head and slowly came back to his senses. He turned to look at the stunned elders and said solemnly, I have presided over the pill competition for 10 years. I have never encountered such a strange thing. But the only thing I can be sure of is that Xiaoyan's result is definitely above Li Zan's. Li Daoyuan's voice had a rare tremble. It was unknown whether it was because of excitement or excitement. This device has a maximum score of 100. I don't know what will happen if it exceeds this score. Or rather, I never thought about it. Someone from the pill competition might surpass this score. Now, it seems like if I exceed 100 points, this device will explode. Li Daoyuan bent over and picked up a residue as he spoke in a deep voice. It's like this. Hua Yan couldn't help but feel happy when he heard this. After that, he let out a sigh of regret. Although it was satisfying to be able to kill Li Zan, this man wasn't an alchemist of spiritual Sky City. Thinking about it made him feel mixed emotions. Now is not the time to talk about this. This device has exploded. The big screen didn't show any data about Xiaoyan. I think some people will use this as an excuse. Li Daoyuan glanced at Hua Yan. Of course, he knew what Hua Yan meant. He then looked at the big screen not far away. He exhaled and cupped his hands in front of his chest. Everyone has seen it. It is the crystal ball printed by this contestant named Xiaoyan. This device can't withstand the momentum of the flames within, which is why it exploded. Xiaoyan's result was absolutely higher than Li Zan's. This point, everyone should have no doubts about it. A powerful voice resounded across the entire scene, echoing in everyone's ears like a rumbling thunder. I have a question. Just as Li Daoyuan was breathing in his heart, a deep echo suddenly came from the direction of the mercenary corps in spiritual Sky City. After that, one of the two middle-aged men who had been noticed by Li Daoyuan slowly stood up. Do you have any questions? Seeing that it was someone from the mercenary corps in spiritual Sky City, Li Daoyuan sneered in his heart. As expected, these guys couldn't keep their calm. They couldn't accept the fact that Li Zan hadn't won the first place in this round. The middle-aged man cupped his hands towards Li Daoyuan, cleared his throat, and said with a thunderous voice, I didn't expect that Chairman Li, as the head judge of pill competition, would do such a shameful thing. Li Daoyuan's eyes narrowed, and he looked at the middle-aged man and said coldly, Sir, please explain clearly how I did such a shady thing. The middle-aged man laughed and said, Isn't this obvious? Li Zan's score was the highest before. That so-called genius of yours, Xiao Yu, was also mediocre. In the end, no one was able to suppress Li Zan. It was at this moment that he acted out a scene and purposely destroyed the device. Besides, didn't you say that it was because your score was too high that the device exploded to deceive everyone? Isn't that right, Chairman Li? As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, the hundreds of mercenary corps members beside him responded loudly. Some of them even called out Li Daoyuan's name and scolded him for having insider information. So noisy. Li Daoyuan looked coldly at the direction where the mercenary corps of Spirit Sky was located. He shouted with a gloomy face. After that, everyone seemed to have heard a sudden clap of thunder in the sky. Soon after, they saw nearly 100 mercenary corps members of Spirit Sky covering their heads and crying out in pain. When the middle-aged man saw that all the members of the mercenary corps were lying on the ground with faces full of pain, he immediately shouted with a gloomy expression, Li Daoyuan. What do you mean? Then he sneered and said, Could it be that you are angry from embarrassment? When Li Daoyuan heard this, he coldly snorted and said in a clear voice, Don't worry, they won't die. I'm just using some means to punish them. These people don't know their status, and they dare to call my name directly. It's already considered merciful that I didn't kill them. After hearing Li Daoyuan's words, the middle-aged man let out a cold snort, but he didn't say anything. As for what you said about being angry from embarrassment, I do things openly and honorably. Why would I be angry from embarrassment? Li Zan's skill is not as good as others. Anyone with discerning eyes can tell at a glance what you are trying to do by inverting black and white here. Hearing Li Daoyuan's aggressive words, the middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said, with your soul power, you should know that the key Li Zan injected into the flame is the key of a heavenly sovereign. I don't believe that kid called Xiao Yan can surpass Li Zan with anything. Li Daoyuan frowned, and just as he was in deep thought, Xiao Yan had already walked forward and stood behind everyone. He said, Chairman Li, I have something I want to say to this senior. I hope he can agree to it. Li Daoyuan hesitated for a moment when he heard this. When he saw Xiao Yan's calm expression, he nodded. In his heart, he was also deeply puzzled by Xiao Yan's ability to defeat Li Zan. It might be better to let Xiao Yan explain it now. Xiao Yan took a deep breath. The current situation didn't allow him to hide anymore. If the conflict continued to deepen, he didn't know what he should do to get rid of everyone's doubts. He might as well take this opportunity to explain it clearly. Facing nearly 10,000 people, Xiao Yan wasn't afraid at all. He cupped his hands towards the middle-aged man. His voice was loud and clear. Senior, don't you know that there is a supreme saint above the heavenly sovereign? With the aura of a supreme saint, I can easily crush a heavenly sovereign no matter what. Supreme saint. As soon as the words came out, it immediately caused a huge commotion in the hall. Countless people looked at Xiao Yan in disbelief. In this era, the ultimate saint expert was almost never born again. Even Li Daoyuan, Hua Yan, who was a mighty warrior, had never seen a supreme saint before. Over the years, the supreme saint had become a symbolic existence in the hearts of most people. Nonsense. You are just a puny monarch spirit, how can you possess the aura of a supreme saint? The middle-aged man recovered from his initial shock, and couldn't help but furiously shout out. Xiao Yan heard this and lightly smiled. He looked at Li Daoyuan, who was similarly shocked, and said while staring at the middle-aged man, I think the leaders of the group have some impression of Xiao Yan's name. He is an 8-year-old alien realm soul alchemist. To be honest, I am the one who broke through to the fighting monarch of lower realm. I have been in the great world for 8 years. This is the reason. Besides, since my soul has reached the alien realm, I have naturally succeeded in cultivating the 3-step soul transfer. Chairman Li once said that the 3-step soul transfer is a legendary method. If it wasn't because I encountered an ultimate saint expert, how could I have successfully transformed it? Everyone was stunned by what they heard. After that, Li Daoyuan and the others came to their senses. Following Xiao Yan's train of thought, this problem was easily solved. Naturally, the key of the Supreme Saint had merged into their bodies at that time. When the group leaders heard what Xiao Yan said, they also understood what was going on. They exclaimed as if they had just realized something. No wonder this guy was so outstanding when he was 8 years old. Previously, they had guessed that Xiao Yan had broken through to the fighting monarch of lower realm, but they didn't dare to imagine the success of the 3-step soul transfer. Today, after hearing Xiao Yan admit it himself, they all understood what was going on. When the middle-aged man heard this, he opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. He had seen Xiao Yan's information before, and he was surprised that Xiao Yan's talent was so outstanding. He didn't expect Xiao Yan to break through to the next realm with the fighting monarch of lower realm. Besides, although the 3-step soul transfer was a legend, it was still widely known among the alchemists. If it was a true supreme saint, it was indeed possible for him to break through to the next realm. All right, Uncle He, please sit down. I have lost this round. Just as the middle-aged man was about to say something, Li Zan stood up from behind and said in a clear voice. With this step, the middle-aged man hurriedly took a deep breath. He forced a smile at Li Daoyuan, cupped his hands, and then sat down. Amazing, you really live up to the reputation of the 3-step soul transfer. From now on, you will be my opponent just like Xiao Yu. Although you have won this round, I will definitely show you the difference between the two of you when it comes to concocting pills. With a cold laugh, Li Zan's eyes swept across Xiao Yan and Xiao Yu, who was not far away. He laughed and sat down. When he heard Li Zan's arrogant words, Xiao Yan's mouth revealed a trace of a cold smile. He looked at Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu's facial expression didn't change, only his eyes were burning with fighting spirit. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.